This week I learned that while Chris Verrocchio may think that George R. R. Martin is a talented writer, he thinks he's way too soft on his characters. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with a little weekly update. This time, guys, I know it's a little later in the day than usual, but it's my day off, and I woke up this morning, I said, you know what, I'm going to read, and then I got wrapped up in a Stephen King book. It just kind of happens sometimes, guys, so let's just go ahead and dive right in. What am I reading? Well, guys, I did kind of just joke about it, but I did finish Kingdoms of Death by Mr. Rocchio, and without getting too spoilery in there for you, Kingdoms of Death is more than just a clever title. Okay, there are some really, really brutal things that happen in this book, and it has me to the point where I'm like, I don't know where he's going for the next one. But you know, that constitutes a great series, in my opinion. You have no idea where he is going with things. But there are lots of answers, but there are a lot more questions presented in this one. And the guy continues to kill it, in my opinion. I had some mixed things about the middle of the book, which I think is one of those that I'm going to look back on with great fondness. Kind of almost is like that Ruidian scene in The Shadow Rising by in Wheel of Time by what's his name? Robert Jordan. That's his name. He wrote that scene in that book that I was like just baffled. I was like, I don't know what's going on right now. And then I went back and read it a second time. I was like, wow, it's actually brilliant. I think that's something with this. The middle 30s chapters, there's some things that go a little wonky where I wasn't quite sure what was actually happening. Wasn't. But it's one of those things I think you go back and you look at it, you're like, I see what was going on there. So Christopher just he thinks at a higher level than the rest of us, and it's really great because, guys, we are going to be doing a spoiler talk, but it's not going to be on this channel. It's got my good friend Jordan's over on iWizard. I will link that down below so you guys can join us, because Mr. Rocchio himself, along with Jake Bishop, is going to join us for the spoiler talk, and I am going to represent the everyman who may not be smart enough to read these books. So it's going to be a fun conversation, and I look forward to speaking with Christopher and Jordan and Jake. As always, it is always a good time. There's plenty to talk about when you talk about Sun Eater. And guys, I know you guys have been begging. I read a volume of Berserk. I read volume number 32 of Berserk. I guess it goes through 35, I think, is the end of the Falcon of the Millennium Empire. So I'm coming up on that. I do plan to try to get that review for that out by the end of May. That's the target right now. I know I've had so many people who will find those old Berserk reviews now and be like, where's the next one? You know, and what I just always said is, like, I'm enjoying Berserk and things like that, but manga was never going to take priority on my channel. There's a lot of other bigger booktubers than me who let manga completely take over their channel. I didn't want to become that guy. I mean, it works for them, obviously, clearly, it's huge for them. But me, I'm always going to be about written word and stuff like that. So manga is really just going to be more of something I have to do when I have time. So I try to make some time to catch up with Guts and the gang and kind of figure out what's happening. As I'm getting close to the end of where Mr. Miura sadly did not get to finish the series. But I will be finishing at least that arc and reviewing it on the channel relatively soon. And I know you guys are like, yeah, soon. You've been saying that for months now, but I mean it this time. But soon is what I'll be finishing with To Green Angel Tower, guys. I started book 4 this morning, which is the last part of To Green Angel Tower Part 2. Is this numbering getting confusing for you? This book is just To Green Angel Tower. Some people split it in half. But this book, as it is, has 4 parts in it. So I'm in the final part now. So that's what we're saying. So, about 200 pages left. And, it sounds kind of wild when you say that you're almost at the end. You got 200 pages left. But a book this massive, that's just kind of, it is what it is. But anxious, because it feels like there's so much to wrap up and so little to do it. And everyone tells me that he sticks the landing with this. So I'm anxious to find out. So I have more to say about that sometime, probably on the next weekly update. And then I will be doing my review, obviously, at the end of the month for all of To Green Angel Tower. So that will be the end of the channel read along, and those threads on the Discord will be going bye-bye. So if you didn't join us, that's okay. Maybe you can join us this summer for Codex Alera or anything. You guys, you want anything, you can find it probably on the Discord. There are tons of read-alongs. If there's one you want to start, just bring it up. So I said I was reading some Stephen King this morning, and yes, I did decide To Green Angel Tower isn't a big enough book on its own. I got to start this massive Stephen King book at the same time. As you can see, about halfway through it. And guys, because look, I read this for the first time as a teenager, and it was It wasn't quite what I was wanting from King at the time. I still wanted him to scare my pants off at the time. So with this book, when I read it as a teenager, I want to say it wasn't clicking for me, and I was kind of getting that same feeling this time at first. Then there's some events that happen, and oh my God, guys, this is the most Dark Tower book, not with the Dark Tower title on it. I was blown away by how much Dark Tower stuff in here. They're talking about Ka, they're explaining purpose and random, they're doing all kinds of things with Dark Tower. They're talking about the Crimson King in this. I'm like blown away by how much Dark Tower stuff there is in this, and that's when I got to the point where I was like, well, hell, I can't stop now. So yeah, a lot of people always ask me, what book should I read before Dark Tower? And I always say, there's none that you have to read. But, I always say, read Salem's Lot because Wolves of the Calla, that's Dark Tower 5, will spoil the hell out of Salem's Lot, and that's one of King's best books. I'm thinking about adding this one in, guys, because this is giving so much context to an important character in the content later in the series, and, of course, the Crimson King. So there's so much good stuff in here. I'm completely blown away that this isn't a Dark Tower book. Really am. So I won't say it's quite on that level of the Tower. See what I did there? But yeah, lots of things I think a Tower junkie will really, really appreciate. If you're wanting to do this, if you're doing a first reading of Dark Tower, I would say as long as you read this before Dark Tower number 7, I think that would probably really benefit you in that read for sure. If you've already finished Dark Tower, it's not going to change anything. But I was saying, this is what I'm enjoying about these rereads with Stephen King, is stuff that as a teenager, I'll all of a sudden understand the adult part of it better. But also, like I said, I had never read Dark Tower when I read this for the first time. So a lot of that stuff just kind of went over my head. I thought it was just King mumbo jumbo. Now I'm like, wow, it's a greater part of the multiverse. So that's where we'll be dipping into the multiverse here rather soon, I think, to talk about Insomnia. And there's going to be some big Dark Tower stuff. And there's more Dark Tower talk coming on this episode, by the way. That brings me, guys, let's go ahead and move into what am I going to read. Now, obviously, I'm going to finish the Green Angel Tower. I'd like to finish Insomnia, but Insomnia is just one of those, I'm just saying, that's just kind of what I'm reading slowly along the course of the month. But next week is the release of Hunger of the Gods. Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. And I still have that review copy. I didn't get to it because I keep distracting myself with other stuff. So that's okay. I think I've just got the point, guys, where I like to read while other people are reading it, so I have people to talk to about it. So I've kind of held off on a lot of the review copies, except Upgrade. Like I said, I'd already finished that one because I'm going to be talking to that author very, very soon. But Hunger of the Gods does release on Tuesday, so I'd like to get into that. And then, guys, I did make a quick little schedule adjustment. I know I just put out that TBR video, and I'm not, what I said in that is I like having this reading freedom so I can add stuff in but not take anything off. Now, didn't mean I wasn't going to rearrange some things. The Michael J. Sullivan Legends of the First Empire books, I've kind of bumped those back a couple of months. Now, those are quick reads. I might still be able to fit them in that month. But the reason that I did that for this month, guys, is because they are doing a reread of the Dark Tower. I'm sorry, a first-time read of the Dark Tower on my Discord. And they're caught up to where I am now in my reread. And then I realized, because I delayed the Into the Multiverse schedule, it was going to be even longer until I got back to my Dark Tower reread. It's been almost a year since I read Wasteland. So I decided, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of, since I'm not numbering those episodes, I feel like I can break the Dark Tower stuff away from the regular release schedule of Into the Multiverse and talk about Dark Tower. What that's going to mean is I'm going to have to reread Wizard and Glass, guys, because I haven't read it in 20 plus years. Read it when I was 19. It was brand new. So I'm going to be dipping into Wizard and Glass again with them. They start each month. They start on the 19th. And there's a lot of 19s in here. Weird how that works, right? Ka is a wheel, my friends. But I'm excited to go back to this because in my memory, this is the one that either really got people just to become full-on Tower junkies, or it was the one that lost a lot of people on their first run through the Tower. For me, I thought it was amazing because for 3 books, I kept hearing Roland would always say we'll talk about my story another time. And this is where they finally got to it. So yeah, a lot of people got disgruntled because they were liking the real-time journey. They didn't want a 450-page flashback. Me, I was all about it because this is the most fantasy that any of the Dark Tower books go. So yeah, it's a good time. You see when the gunslingers were still, just the best in the land. It's a good time. I can't wait to get back into it and talk to those readers about it. So you guys were excited about Legends of the First Empire. They're still going to happen. I'm not going to be doing one per month, I think, April, May, June. But who knows? Like I said, those are quick reads. I read faster than, I'm reading Obviously, Insomnia and A Green Angel Tower faster than I expected. So if I keep that reading clip going, I might be able to fit those in sometime in those months. I don't know. But the things that are on the schedule, like I said, they might move around. They might have new stuff added in, but I'm not taking anything off of the schedule as of right now. And guys, what does that leave for the end of the month? Like I just talked about, we're going to be talking about a little Drizzt Stewart and of course, Homeland, which is book number 1 of the Dark Elf trilogy. So that's what I got planned to wrap out the month of April here. So kind of a little bigger what am I going to read segment than usual, but I was very excited to be adding back in Dark Tower because I don't want to wait, I don't want it to take 3 years for me to cover the entire Dark Tower in a reread because I'm going to start to forget stuff that I just reread. So that's at least my excuse. So what can I say, guys? There's Ka and then there's everything else. I can't deny the calling of the Tower. Sometimes I got to go back, and reading Insomnia really got me excited to talk about some of those things. So that is kind of where we are, guys. Go ahead and talk about a little bit of this week on the channel. I did go ahead and wrap up the month of March. Always fun time to do a little wrap up. Some differences than usual. I know that there are some categories that some people are kind of like, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, a lot of people think when I do that flop of the month that I'm just like being disparaging, and nah, it's just fun, guys. I don't think everything on the channel should be taken quite so seriously. It's just fun. Sometimes to poke fun at yourself. I like to use self-deprecating humor. That way people can't make fun of me too hard. That's kind of my defense mechanism. But yeah, nothing special about a wrap-up except I get to do my book of the month. And I think the book of the month did surprise some folks because it's a book that isn't out yet. And I know that really probably was not fair of me. So that's why I also did a book haul for this week. The book haul a little earlier than usual because I had to record it a little earlier than usual, guys, and that made me realize I actually missed a couple things that I got in March, and I am so sorry if you sent me something in March. I promise it'll be on April. It was a complete accident that after I recorded it and I was already editing it, and I looked by my desk and I saw, oh my God, I left a couple of books off. So I do want to recognize you guys, so I'll talk about those in April. I am sorry about that, but I recorded that early because I didn't know how bad tax season was going to go. Working for a major corporation, they don't like to run it down to the wire, which is middle of April. They like to be done by April 1. So I went ahead and did that in advance just in case, but we did actually get everything done to where, we're back to normal now. We're actually going to let us take our Fridays off now, or every other Friday. That's my work schedule. But that's why the book haul was released so early this month, and then usually the second week of the month, as per usual. That's okay. I think it was good because I did do something in the middle of the week, which was, of course, why I decided to read The Legend of Drizzt. And very good reception for that video. It's one of those things like I knew this had a fandom, but I was like kind of not sure because it seemed like there was almost nothing about it on BookTube. And I talk in that video about how I feel like a lot of BookTube, it kind of trends younger. And so anything really that came out like before Wheel of Time, and this is 1988. Well, actually, this one's 1990, so I take that back. The original one, Icewind Dale, was 1988. Anyhow, it seems like BookTube likes to trend younger. Anything before or like Wheel of Time, they just kind of think is aged out. But I also noticed that a lot of BookTube has been covering like the same seven or eight series. It seems like no one wants to branch out a little bit. Me, I have no problems ever trying new things and seeing what else I can find out there. This series has become very highly recommended to a lot of people, not just myself. So I'm excited to do it, and there are a lot of people who joined the Discord say, yeah, hey, I've read it before, I'm going to reread it with you, or I just want to see people's experience with it. So a very good reception so far, and in my personal opinion, that is one of my favorite introductions I've ever done for a video. That's why it was 3 minutes long. And I know some of you guys think the intros were just ridiculous. Most of the feedback I get, people love them. I enjoy making them. I think it's a lot of fun. I feel like if I have a talent, it would be to make book trailers. So if book trailers ever became a thing, I hope that some author or publishing company would call me because I would love to do that. A lot of fun. So how about a little bit of a next week plans, guys? There are some things on deck here. I will be celebrating my 3-year BookTube anniversary next week. I don't know if I plan to make a video or anything for that. What am I going to say? Hey, cool, it's 3 years. Who knows? I might do a little quick short one. Who knows? But on the schedule right now, obviously I talked recently about how I was going to be doing my venture into Tolkien here for the lead up to Rings of Power on Amazon Prime. So I'll be beginning this month, which in April is going to be why you should read J.R.R. Tolkien. So obviously this is going to, anytime you're going to be talking about the man, the myth, the legend, there's lots to talk about. There's a little bit of nervous excitement because I've never really talked Lord of the Rings on this channel outside of when I did my top 10 fantasy series of all time. So it's going to be interesting to see what I talk about because right now I have no plans. I mean, what do you say when you're trying to convince someone to read Tolkien? It's amazing. Read it. You know, it's hard, but I'll do like I usually do and try to break it down about what I think you guys will like, what you might not like, and if I think it is for you or not, kind of judging off those things. But anytime I can encourage anyone to read, you know, Tolkien, it's going to be an easy sell for me to try to do it at least. As far as if that sell sticks, that'll kind of be up to you. But I'm excited to kick off the Lord of the Rings coverage on the channel. And because I keep getting so many questions, I actually meant to do this one a little later, but basically the top comments in that video lately have been as where's part 2? And I'm talking about my ranking Stephen King series. I did ranking part 1, which was 1974 through 1982. So part 2, I have decided, is going to be 1983 through 1989. That's going to cover some of my most favorite Stephen King books during that period. So that's going to be a lot tougher. And like I told you guys in that video, I'm going to keep adding on to that tier list. It's not going to be a new one for every video. I'm going to keep adding on to the one that's already there. So those books that I ranked before will also be on there. So anytime I get to talk about King, as you can see, this is the third time I've done it in this video. I'm excited to do it. And anytime I'm going to rank some of my most favorite books, it's going to be challenging, but very, very fun and rewarding, I think. But as of now, guys, that's all I got planned for next week. But, you know, things come up. We shall see what happens in the future. Let's talk about a little bit of TV and movie talk, guys. There are a couple things I want to talk about here real quick. Ever since I showed my kid Terminator 2, which, by the way, he now uses as a measuring stick because he has declared that Terminator 2 was the greatest movie ever made. And I'm like, that's a strong pick. It's hard for me not to say that. It's just really weird. He'll tell me about how all the kids on the playground at school are talking about like the new MCU movie or the new Pixar movie. And he's like, and I go up to him and I tell him, well, actually, I think Terminator 2 is the greatest film ever made. And they just stare at me like a dog who's just been shown a card trick. You know, I'm like, you're welcome, you know. So so basically what this did was it awakened his love for the 80s action movie. He just wants to devour any 80s action movie now. So like once a week he'll come down and be like, hey, what's another action movie you liked when you were my age? Let's watch it. And this week we picked They Live by John Carpenter. And guys, I've showed him numerous John Carpenter movies at this point. John Carpenter, I think, is one of the best directors ever. He has he just pulls off amazing things with like pennies, the stuff that he is able to pull off, and They Live is no exception. This is one of those movies where, like, if you want to watch this for the political undertones, it's there. If you want to watch it just for a fun action movie, it's there. You want to watch it just because it's crazy, weird, out there science fiction, it is there, and it has the best one-on-one, no weapons, fist-to-fist combat fight scene I have ever seen in my life. Roddy Piper and Keith David. It's so good. It is so good. But this movie has aged incredibly well, guys. The Blu-ray looks spectacular. It looks like a brand new movie. It really does. And really made me realize how much I miss Roddy Piper. The guy was a legend, wasn't he? But my kid enjoyed it so much all week. He's been walking around. Like, he'll come from off the bus and he'll walk in the door and be like, I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I don't even get mad. I don't even care because it's such an awesome line, right? But yeah, so many one-liners in that. I mean, Arnold was jealous of some of the one-liners in that movie. So another hit, I think, as far as today's youth watching some 80s movies that I enjoyed. And guys, it never gets old sharing those movies with your kids, I think. But as for everything else, guys, not much else going on. I saw Ezra Miller got arrested, and they're talking about like kicking him out of the Flash movie or canceling the Flash movie. And I'm like, why don't you just cancel the DCEU at this point? I already kind of talked about that. Thinking about taking the kids to see Sonic 2 this weekend because we had a great time with Sonic 1. It was guys, is that like a Oscar caliber movie? Of course not. Is it just dumb fun? Absolutely. And it has Jim Carrey acting like Jim Carrey again, you know, just being a complete moron. And I mean, I'm all for that. But yeah, this one's got Knuckles in it, obviously. So we are all excited because we all play on the Sega Classics on the Switch. We'd be playing Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic and Tails, all that stuff. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And I also see that they're going to be remaking Max Payne 1 and 2. That's something that I really hope that they pour some money into. Remedy, Take-Two. That would be awesome because that is some of my favorite games ever. But, I go back and play them now. It's like, yeah, these have aged pretty rough. So if they really do like a complete rebuild of those, man, I am very, very excited. But I know I just kind of wrapped up TV, movie talk, and gaming talk, and all that stuff kind of all into one thing here. But didn't watch anything else really except They Live this week because I've just been doing so much reading and things like that. But guys, what was your week like? Why don't you drop in the comments something to what you are reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you are playing. There are no wrong answers. And as always, guys, have yourself a safe and awesome weekend.